Seated, please. Good morning, everyone. This is the time set in FC 2023-052-114. Appearances, please, beginning first with Petitioner's Counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Gingras on behalf of Laura Owens. Ms. Owens is present with me in court today, along with her mother and our medical expert, Dr. Michael Mitchell.
Good morning to you all. And from the respondent, please.
Good morning, Judge. Greg Woodnick appears from Clayton Echard. Also with me is my co-counsel, Andrew and Isabel Rennie.
Good morning to all of you. Is that by chance our expert, maybe? Oh, no, I wasn't talking to the media. You're fine. I was talking to Layla. All right. So, counsels, I know we discussed in chambers whether the rule is going to be invoked or not. What did we decide?
We're not invoking it. We're good.
Okay. All right. So then, as I told the parties, that extends your time by 5 minutes. Each party will be given 50 minutes. We will take a 10-minute break roughly halfway through. I allow 10 minutes for technical difficulties because they just happen to everybody. Are either counsel using a laptop that may kick out on Wi-Fi? No. All right. So that won't be an issue then this morning. And then the additional 10 minutes has now been absorbed into the party's time. Counsel, I know that you wish to make a record before we begin. Did you wish to make that now?
I do, Your Honor, as quickly as I possibly can.
Okay.
So we object to Mr. Michael Maricini being called as a witness. There are two bases for this objection. The first is non-disclosure. I raised this before in a motion in limine, if the court would remember. I don't think the court had all the facts at that time, and I don't know that I had an opportunity to present them. So I just want to briefly explain what the basis is for the non-disclosure objection. I got involved in this case on March 25th, 2024. 2 days after that, Mr. Woodnick served a second supplementary disclosure statement. That was the first time that Mr. Maricini was identified as a witness. The entire disclosure was a single sentence long, and I'll read it. This witness is expected to testify about his prior interactions with the petitioner, her 2 alleged pregnancies during their relationship, and the subsequent litigation. That was the entirety of the disclosure as to Mr. Maricini. As I would in any case, Your Honor, once I got a copy of the file, I started to investigate, and I reached out to the contact person listed for Mr. Maricini, who was a lawyer in California named Randy Sue Pollock. I spoke to Ms. Pollock. She expressed extreme surprise. She had never heard of this case. She had never heard of Mr. Woodnick. She had no idea why I was calling her. I told her that her client had been listed as a witness and that I wanted to know if he was going to come to trial or not. If he was, I may want to speak to him. I may want to depose him. She said that she would get back to me and let me know. She sent me an email the next day, dated April 19th, which I have a copy of, and I'll put it in the record if Your Honor would allow. She said to me in writing, "My client will not be testifying," referring to Mr. Maricini. I thought, great, one less person, one less time issue to deal with. That remained my understanding until the morning of April 30th, when I received a new disclosure from Mr. Woodnick that totally changed the landscape. This was the first time that I had heard there was an issue of fake medical records with Mr. Maricini and my client in California some 8 years ago. That's why literally within an hour of seeing that information, I filed an emergency motion for a court hearing. The court unfortunately took 2.5 weeks and then denied that, so I was not given an opportunity to explain the problem. Here we are, Your Honor, the morning of trial. I still don't know what Mr. Maricini is going to say. That is a complete violation of Rule 49. The whole purpose of the disclosure rules is to avoid surprise. And yet here we are, surprised, waiting to see what he's going to say. That's improper. The second issue, Your Honor, deals with this California court restraining order. I think you have a copy of it. It's one of our trial exhibits. We have a court order from the state of California that prohibits Mr. Maricini from being within 100 yards of Ms. Owens. He's in violation of it right now. There is no exception for court appearances. She is so terrified that she may not be able to sit here during this trial. Under the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution and also under federal law, this court is required to enforce that order as it is written. You can't change it, you can't modify it, you can't disregard it. And yet here we are. So for those 2 reasons, I would ask the court to exclude Mr. Maricini.
Thank you. Response?
You can do it in 30 seconds, Judge. Number 1, you already ruled on this. And number 2, there's a lack of transparency in the comments because number 1, Your Honor already saw Mr. Maricini's correspondence to Mr. Gingras as to why he didn't want to talk to him. And number 2, Mr. Maricini is here and is available, and certainly Mr. Gingras could have walked out in the hallway and talked to him, but instead he called 911.
Thank you.
Your Honor, just very briefly, the whole point here is I wanted to talk to Mr. Maricini. I wanted to interview him either informally, which I would do in any case, or depose him if he wouldn't participate. I couldn't do that because I didn't have contact information from him, and his attorney told me he wasn't coming. So somebody lied to me. I don't know who it was, but I don't care. The disclosure rules require him to disclose everything to me so that I'm not surprised. That was not done. He shouldn't be allowed to testify.
Thank you. Okay. The court did previously rule on this. My ruling will stand, but I appreciate the record. So at this point, counsel, on your client's behalf, how many people will be testifying, and are they in the courtroom right now?
We have 3, and they are all here.
Okay. Do we have the expert available virtually? Okay. And then, counsel, from your perspective, which witnesses are you calling, and are they all here?
We have Mr. Echard, Mr. Maricini, Mr. Gillespie, and Dr. Bean, who is my phone for Benedict.
All right. All right. So what we're going to do at this time is we're going to swear everybody in. That gives the parties a little bit more time. So I'm going to have anyone who is being called as a witness to please raise your right hand to be sworn in. And I apologize.